Talk. And this segment, we're featuring Miss Erin Hollon, who has so much to share, but unfortunately only has a short period of time to talk about a little bit of it. So we're going to dive right into it. So, Erin, I think we can totally geek out on quantum physics and essential oils and all this science and natural healing stuff. But we also share something else in common. We are both in a program to help us, with business and creating multiple streams of income while serving authentically and living our passion. So part of my passion is kind of highlighting others who are living their passion. So I'll go ahead and get into it and not take up your time because you have so much awesomeness inside of you that I just can't wait to hear. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about your two businesses first, Ivy and Light and Lula May Design.
Sure. So I am a multi-hyphenate artist is a word some people use, serial entrepreneur, like just creative. I just have to be bringing things into the world. And so I had always wanted to have a creative business. This is something we haven't even talked about, I don't think, but my degree is in flute performance. So music performance and English lit. And I decided at the end of college, like, the orchestra is not for me. I'm not doing that. So from there, I was a music teacher, piano and flute teacher. Then I managed a music store. Then I managed Trader Joe's in Manhattan. Then, like, through all of that, I never thought that I was going to be like a retail person. Sales is not where I thought I would end up, but I just always wanted to be creative. And so as I went from my like music, like all day long, to getting into the business world during the recession. So like I just took the jobs I could get. All of a sudden, I just found myself in this like 50, 60-hour work week with no creative outlet, 0% creativity. And it was soul sucking. And I'm sure many, many people who watch this video are there or have been there at some point in their life where you're just like, what you have to wake up and do every day is just crushing you. And I had that going on. I had physical illness going on. I was dealing with hypothyroidism. I had a failed marriage going on that I was just like, I needed to get out of all of those situations, literally for my life. It got to the point where it was a life and death scenario I had to choose. And so in 2015 or 16, I'm bad with time, I had this like moment of clarity of I'm like dying. I'm getting worse and worse and worse. And sadder and sadder and sadder and more stress and more stress and more stress. And I was pulling myself up my staircase at the end of the night, just exhausted. I was crying every morning when I went to work. And it's just like, well, this is not manageable, right? So at this point, I had started painting, drawing and then painting as some sort of creative outlet. Then from there, I started making jewelry. So I actually, at the beginning of my business, was a jewelry designer and an illustrator. And you can still buy some of my illustrations out there somewhere in the world. But there, as I was on this journey, which really became a physical and emotional healing journey, all of what I had done to start a business for a creative outlet, which then turned into being able to get out of those situations I was in. It was going to save me basically from being reliant on these things that were dragging me down. That pivoted to being, well, why just make jewelry when I could make healing jewelry? So I had started using crystals very early on in my hypothyroid journey. I had tried all the normal stuff and nothing was working. And I looked up, I'd just given in to realize that stress was a big factor for me. And I looked up, natural healing stress, and aquamarine popped up. And I was like, well, it can't hurt. Mm-hmm. So I wrapped in aquamarine and I wore it every day at work. And anytime I would get stressed, I would put my hand over the crystal and I would just repeat in my head, this is not more important than my health. This is not more important than my health. This is not more important than my health. And I would work myself back off that ledge, right? And so from there, it was like, I think that works. I feel less stress. I'm able to handle this better. So then I wrapped a rose quartz, and then and all of a sudden it wasn't just a jewelry business. It was a crystal healing business. And from there, I wanted to, as I learned more about crystals and the importance of the energy that we're putting into our creations and into our crystals, I became a Reiki healer in order to put the best possible energy into my pieces. And from there, I got really, really passionate about all this learning that I was doing. And I love research, and I had been on a health journey since college, really is where it started. I was very, very sickly and had gotten better and then had dipped down again due to stress. And so it had been years of like, how am I just finding out about this? Then I had someone help get me some essential oils for my hypothyroid support as well. So like, if it's taken me 10 years to find this, then this can't be easy to find because I've been looking. Right. And then you have also, for years, I had dealt with back pain, and it took me a long time to understand that yoga was the best thing for me there. And so all of these different healing modalities, which were so key to keeping me healthy and sane and like living a life that I could enjoy, were all in different spots of the internet and all very hard to find. And so I started Ivy and Light, my online wellness community, literally from the personal pain point of why is this not on the internet in one spot? It must be. I must have missed it. I searched. I spent 3 months looking. Nope, doesn't exist. I found one spot that was kind of what I was looking for, but the price point was just crazy out of my range. And so I thought, well, that's not helpful to people if the only way to get all this stuff in one spot is to have thousands of dollars to spend on it, right? So I'm going to create a way to make wellness accessible and affordable for all. And that is the passion behind Ivy and Light. And it allows me the freedom to do all this research in quantum physics and vibrational healing and all the stuff I like to do so that I can then share it with my audience. All these things that are hard to find, it gives me the ability to go do all that hard searching because I'm bringing it back to my community to make it much easier for them than it was for me. So that was a long-winded story. Sorry, but those are my two businesses.
No, I love it. There's so much in there. And one, I totally agree with you. Like, that's where I'm at. I'm about to launch my own health and wellness, holistic, natural health and wellness business in January. And what I found was very similar to your journey, that it was a piece here, a piece here, a piece here. And all of them for me are on the holistic, natural health and wellness, and all have to do with aromatherapy, using essential oils in all of it, as well as, the quantum physics part. And that's something that I grew up in a religious background. I have a strong relationship with God, but had to break up with religion. God pulled me out of it. So there were so many negative connotations to that. It was just, there was no natural stuff that could really be talked about.
Yeah.
So I actually came up against opposition with the congregation I was in when I started going down the path God led me and answering my prayers. So
yeah,
I think that's a huge, huge thing of misconceptions and all these different things that actually keeps people from true healing. What were you going to say?
100%. Well, yeah, I mean, you've led me into the thing that I should have mentioned, but didn't mention, that by accessible, I mean accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to understand, even like know what quantum physics is. I don't expect anyone to when you get there. I also don't expect you to wear all white and do yoga all day long, right? There seem to be two extremes. It's like,
exactly.
Either I have no interest in this because it's not science enough for me, and I can totally explain that to you, or I am over here in my lane with my particular health thing, and I don't have time for yours, or mine is better than yours. Or it's just like a weird, like clicky thing that happens. Yeah. And all of that makes me uncomfortable. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to create the comfortable spot. I'm going to create the spot where it doesn't matter what you look like, how old you are, what you know, what you don't know, what people have told you before, how sick you are, how healthy you are. you're welcome. You're welcome, and we will show you all of your options, and you will then dive into the one that's comfortable for you.
Yes, I love
Because it's all connected. It is all
Mhm.
quantum physics. It is all vibrational healing. It's based on the fact that humans have an electrical pulse that goes through them that creates an electromagnetic field, and so do other objects with an electrical charge. It's just physics. But that doesn't mean that someone is going to feel comfortable interacting with
Mhm.
all of it, or that they will really want to. Like, some
Mhm.
people just don't have the interest or time for a meditation practice.
Yeah.
Some people, I didn't wear jewelry until I started making it. So there are a lot of people who love all of my content, never buy my jewelry. A lot of people who only buy my jewelry and never buy my coaching, and that's all fine, because it's giving everyone an entry point to something that's so important.
Right. So they get to pick what they really feel drawn to the most and then can kind of go from there. And
Yes.
that's what was so important for me. I started with the essential oils because that, like you, I had tried everything else and that was my last bit. And I was very skeptical, but it worked and it was so powerful. And then that was what led me to researching it. I have to know more. How does this work when nothing else has? And none of the mainstream stuff worked.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I noticed too is the lack of education. A lot of people don't even know that this stuff exists, or unfortunately, there is that stigma around it of, you know, it's woo woo or, quack stuff. But this is actually scientific. It's all
Right.
scientific what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think everything about what you're doing, your education, your heart, your passion is so amazing.
Thank
So,
you. It was, I think, for all of us, it's that step out into the uncomfort zone
mm,
of, maybe my friends and my family think I'm crazy, but I know I'm not. And I know that there are people out there who need this, right? And
right.
as soon as you step out into that, those people appear, and they're so glad that you were there. And
Mhm.
it's like you've refound your family, you've refound your community, the people who are on the same wavelength, wanting to go in the same direction together.
Yes. And personally, I'm in this only a few years. I'm still learning so much. So you are such a wonderful resource for me because you've been there and you've been down that road a bit longer and know more. So you can guide the newbies who are very interested in it and streamline it and not make it quite so difficult, which is so wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, it really took me until 2020 to embrace that, to embrace the fact that I knew a lot more than other people in the same
Mm,
field. That's hard for
wow.
me because I always have beginner mind. There's
Yeah.
always so much to know. So
Mhm.
I'll never be an expert on anything, because there's always, we always have more to learn. But then kind of realizing, oh, I know there's a lot in there because I've taken a lot in, and I should be sharing that. And my audience isn't always the new person. It's very often someone who's very well versed in something specific, and
Mm.
maybe needs the science, or just wants to try a new method and is now a beginner in a new method, right? And yeah, I've lost my train of thought, but thank you for that, because that was a big turning point for me to realize that it's okay to kind of change tack and realize that I could be speaking to someone who actually already knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't discount me or discount anybody else. If I know a little bit more, I'm a little farther ahead, because I've been doing this for 18 years
Wow.
basically, and I'm only 34. So most of my life, um, so this is what I wanted to say. So I have people ask me, like, what do you teach? And it's kind of like everything: um, immunity, hormone balance, digestive health, detoxification, specific on the thyroid, and then all of the other wellness stuff: meditation, affirmations, essential oils, intentional living, life coaching, all of that stuff. Because part of it was the physical healing journey. And then it's where I live now, which is in the manifestation realm.
Awesome. It's so wonderful. So your life has definitely changed, and you've already mentioned a lot of that. But how would you say your life has changed from using all of the healing methods?
The biggest change was the like going from no hope to
Mm,
hope,
yes.
and
Hmm.
going from every day is awful, and like, it's okay to realize sometimes that it's awful. I think that like was where I realized my starting point. You talk about rock bottom. It's literally just like your brain catching up to where you are and saying, yeah, this is not going to work for me. And so that point at which I had a come to Jesus meeting, I like to say, with my doctor, who had been trying to get me for forever to admit that I was stressed out. And I was like, I'm not stressed, because I thought stress was like losing it. I
Hmm.
thought stress was other people knowing.
Yeah.
And once I realized I was just internalizing it and putting a grasp on life even harder when I was stressed, that opened me up into the emotional healing aspect of it. That actually, if someone is abusing you, that's going to come out as a physical illness. And like sometimes instead of taking hypothyroid medicine, maybe you should get away from that person.
Yeah.
It's like literally that is, and then you've got a whole emotional healing journey through that. So there's this whole part of what I had to do that was navigate releasing the past, which essential oils are great for too. The whole releasing process and healing process. And meanwhile, supporting my hormones, which are all wrapped up in your emotions. So once I started using the crystals, and then I got the essential oils that I started taking, I was off thyroid meds within, I think it was shorter than this, but at least within 3 months, because I ran out. They were stuck in the mail. And then by the time they came, I was like, I don't think I need these.
Wow.
And so I just started feeling better and better and better instead of worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where, like, I don't get sick anymore. I don't feel exhausted or drained or cloudy or sick. And that, like, for me, that's enormous. For a lot of people, that's just normal. But for me, it's just like, hallelujah, I'm at here, right? And now I get the fun of becoming healthier and healthier and healthier.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I'm definitely on that journey, just again, a little bit behind you. So I'm still working out a lot, but it's so incredibly amazing. Like you said, it was the first time in my life where I didn't continue getting sick, and it was just like putting the band-aid on it, but I actually started getting really honestly better.
Yeah.
So things I was dealing with before, it's not going down that slope again. It's not going
Yeah.
back there. It's getting to total wellness.
Yes.
And when I see people suffering, that's what drives me to say, I need to get my stuff in gear and start educating people on this.
Yeah.
And with you, is that a motivator for you as well?
100%. I think when I first started out, it was really motivated by helping people with their physical illness, and helping them to, take less time to see improvement than me.
Mhm.
Over time it shifted because I'm so I'm farther away from that point in my journey. So, and I now have so much more knowledge about how our energy affects our emotions, affects our physical outcome, that I really speak a lot more to the process of manifesting. So I come at physical healing from a process of manifesting what I want,
Mhm.
instead of speaking so much to, a particular ailment and
Right.
how you would move forward. It's the same thing, but the way my brain thinks about it, it is a progression.
Hmm.
And so the beauty of what I teach now is it's really for anything. So I can help you manifest a better business income. I can help you manifest health. I can help you manifest a more positive attitude. I can help you manifest nomad life, which is my new part of my story. Because the manifesting is the same, we just plug in the details.
Right. So you're really focusing on the long-term end goal, setting up a plan for your life and taking the action steps to get there. So it does manifest or come to fruition in your life, as opposed to the standard, which is just let's deal with this little hurdle as it goes. And it's a really passive way to be a part of life. So,
Yeah, it's a narrow, like, I have hypothyroidism, let me heal from that.
mhm,
But that kind of discounts all the other stuff that could be contributing to it. So when I have a client, I don't really care about, I do care about it, but I don't want to hear about that right now. I want to just hear about life in general. And I ask a series of questions that kind of gets at the meat of what's going on from a physical, emotional, mental perspective. Then I can ask a bunch of questions that may lead them to realize, oh, maybe that's part of what's creating, just like my doctor did for me. It took 4 doctors to find one that knew more about hypothyroidism than I did. But
wow.
once I found her, she was a gold mine, because it was like, first of all, she had my respect. And second of all, she would not let go of the stress thing, because she just knew, right? And that's kind of what I want to be for people, help them to see the whole picture
Mhm.
so that they can get there with more speed, because
Yeah.
they're not like on this
Mhm.
little tiny path.
Exactly. So, going back to your clients, what would you say is the most exciting thing you see change in them?
Confidence in themselves. I tell anyone that I work with, this is not hand holding, because I don't
Mhm.
want 5 years from now for you to be needing coaching sessions with me to get something else done in life. I'm teaching you to fish.
Yeah.
I'm showing you, we put this plan in place. You did it. You literally gave me all this stuff. We talked about it, and we just compiled it based on what you already have to offer. And then maybe there's room for growth, but you're doing all the work. And look what happened. And so, in the case of, let's take a business case, I've been helping a lot of people write courses. They don't think they can write a course. Turns out they're just not giving themselves credit for everything that they know.
Mm.
So then we go through everything that they know, we organize it, and then I'm like, look, all of that was in your brain. Now that we've organized it, you see how it's done. I want you to take more control this next time.
Mhm.
And now you just have confidence that when a new thing you haven't done before comes along, well, I did that one, so I can do this next one. Same thing for me. I healed from hypothyroidism. Man, I can do anything. And that's what I want to give to people, is that sense that I am an incredible manifester of things that I want. That's what I want them to feel.
So you're helping to empower people to be dependent or independent rather than dependent. And that's
Absolutely.
and that's where the normal is to be dependent on a system and to stay in that place of sickness, whether it's mental, emotional, physical. Of course, it's all wrapped into one. We know that. But actually getting to empower people to take control of their lives is and their health is so incredible. And again, that helps push into them that hope. How
Exactly.
many people, especially in the current situation, are struggling to have hope every single day and are in that place where every day they wake up and they feel awful? If it's not physically, it can be emotionally and mentally. And we know that the longer the emotional and mental stuff stays there and doesn't get taken care of, it's going to start manifesting in the body in physical dis-ease. So,
Yes. And as it heals, it ripples out.
yeah.
As you heal one part, everything gets better. So that is, to your question of what is the most amazing thing I see. It's that their health improves and their business improves and their lifestyle, whatever it was, that thing that they wanted to improve, but so did everything else.
Yes. Yes. I can attest for that too. So, what has your experience been growing a healing business, like actually starting that off? And what were your biggest lessons along the way? Say for someone who is really inspired by the thought of getting to live their passion in something that really does allow them creativity and to help others. What would you say to that?
I think the thing for me is, honestly, that letting go of perfection
Mm,
was my journey. I was a high functioning perfectionist, right? I could do it, but boy, was it exhausting.
yeah.
And just what I've learned is that action takes away pressure.
Hmm.
So if I'm taking massive action in my business, if I'm I want to start a YouTube channel. If I start putting videos out there, you can't not learn. You
Mhm.
can't not be like, well, that didn't work, and let me try it again. But if you need it to be perfect every single time, not only does it take you longer to get where you want to go, but it's a painful process. So taking some risks and knowing that, well, if that one didn't work, because I'm going to take another one anyway, just that forward motion, it has caused a lot of people to tell me, like, you're such a risk taker. And I do not describe myself that way at all. But I realize from outside perspective, my
Mhm.
just disregard for the failure process, it comes
Yeah.
across as risk taking.
Yeah, that's a huge thanks because so many people are stuck there. And I can attest for that too. But like you said, it's having to let go of that and just do it and learn as you go. And listening to these people who are super successful, they all started in that place. So it is all a learning experience. There is no just coming out of the gates and having it go flawless.
Absolutely. And then they will teach you how to get some steps forward faster. But I think what people do is they buy the course from that person, and then they're like, well, it should have been immediate.
Mm,
No, you learning is part of it. You can't
yeah,
skip the learning process.
right. Absolutely. All right. So, what would you say the first steps are for someone who did want to pursue their own business that was based off of their passions?
I would say super duper clarity.
Mm,
Clarity on why you're doing it. Because for me, making jewelry in order to have enough money to pay my rent, like, was not exciting for me. It just didn't, it felt like I could be at a store selling jewelry and like it'd be the same thing. I, Knowing yourself, I'm a person that has to believe in what they're doing.
yeah.
It's like innate within me. And so I have to find a thing that I believe in so much that when no one watches a YouTube video or no one buys anything that month, or like whatever it is,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep going. And so a lot of people will get stuck thinking that I'm excited to do this if it works.
Mm,
But
yeah.
if you get enough clarity around why you're doing it, who you're doing it for,
Mhm.
who you're helping, how it's going to make your life better doing this thing, then it helps you not care as those things are not going the way that you expected for the first 6 months of your business, right? Like,
Right.
building a business is not easy, but it's also one of the most exciting things you could possibly do.
Yeah.
And so do something that you're going to enjoy and know who the person is that you're trying to help, because that's what all products do. They make someone's life better in some way. Know that connection, and that's where you start.
So that even if you don't make money or get the reception that you're hoping for, you still walk away feeling fulfilled inside because you've still helped someone in some way.
Yeah, and it gives you the drive to figure out those other puzzle pieces of
Right.
how to make the money,
Yeah.
because you're just not willing to give it up, right? Most businesses fail in the first 3 years.
Hmm.
If you make it through the 3 year mark, you were determined. So how about set yourself up with why you're determined on day one, so that you can make it through those first 3 years and enjoy the process along the way.
And do you find that those chinks, not failures, but chinks, where you don't get that productivity or reception that you are hoping for, and you go and research it and try to find out why, you will also find that it propels you to grow yourself to a greater level so you can grow your business by reaching and impacting more people. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think it's partly it's fuel. Now I take things more personally than I should. So it is part of my like daily healing process to say, just let it go, Erin. They didn't like that one. Just let it go. Like whatever it was, right? But it teaches you to let go, first of all, which is just good for all of life. But second of all, it for me it clarifies, man, if I'm only annoyed that no one interacted or people didn't interact to the level I wanted,
Hmm.
then maybe something was wrong with like my enjoyment of the whole process itself. So
Mm,
it's kind of like creating a diamond. You're just polishing the surfaces and saying, well, maybe that's because I didn't actually love that process enough anyway to just not even care. And then when I do things that I really love just anyway, that is so much more magnetic. So it helps you not only determine to keep going, but also determine to keep going in a way that's a better fit for you.
Yes.
Which is ultimately a better fit for your audience anyway.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think that just right there encapsulates so much of people's struggles with business and why they give up, because there's something that isn't clicking with them and it becomes more of a chore than from the heart.
Yeah. And that's always our choice.
Mm-hmm.
100% our choice if we do it like a chore or not. It's not, it's not a like, you just like, okay, it won't be a chore. There's a process there to work through that. But like, it is always our choice.
Absolutely. All right. So I want to go back to something you touched on, that you're just starting out with your Nomad Life. I personally know quite a few people who are trying for this, hoping for it. This is part of their dream. And this is why, your tagline is naturally living the dream. So can you expand on that for all of us who are wanting to be where you are?
Absolutely. So we became nomads officially January 1st of 2019. In October of 2018, I had this moment where I asked myself, if we were at the September 11th, across the river from the September 11th memorial, taking photographs for my partner, who's a photographer. And I was just like helping him and standing around. And I, for some reason, asked myself the question, will I be successful? And I received clear as day, as if I was right in my own ear. I heard, not here. And I was like, what the heck does that mean? I don't ask a question to get a jerk answer like that. And, it upset me. And then I thought about it, like, not here what? And the answer was not like in this little room, in this apartment, in the middle of a city, which doesn't make me happy.
Wow.
If I'm not happy, what am I expressing through my business? I need to take care of my own life, live the life I want. That's how you teach other people to live the life that they want. And so I had a manifesting formula that I was using in my coaching and in my coaching group. And I thought, I know this, I had just developed it from watching what I had done. It's like, I'm going to set a goal and use the formula and see what happens if I start with this principle in mind from go. So that was September 11th. I had a conversation with Alan about it at the beginning of October, and he was like, let's do it. So from October to January 1st, we did everything that we needed to do to leave our apartment, get everything we needed to basically live in our SUV for a little while we looked for a trailer that we wanted. And then our goal at the end of that year was to get to Baja for New Year's. So I just started telling people that. I'm going to live in my car on the road, and I'm going to be in Baja at New Year's. And so that's just what's going to happen. And we made it to California and didn't go to Baja because we realized at this point, like, the expense to get across to Mexico with a trailer was just like not going to be fun. So we ended up in the Cleveland National Forest in the mountains for 2 weeks, and it was amazing. So we got to the West Coast, got to California for New Year's, and all of that was literally just, okay, we're going to do it. How are we going to do it? And we just step by step by step by step, which gave me so much confidence that, like, you could take this formula that I used for hypothyroidism and for growing a business and apply it to Nomad Life and apply it to like whatever. And so that was a personal thing. I need to do this so that I know that this is the best way to go about it. And I use it every day of my life, the same principles that I teach everyone. And so from living in our SUV in the middle of winter in New York to getting a box trailer, building that all out ourselves. We've been all over the southern U.S., all over the New England, all across the West Coast. The only thing we have not hit is the Pacific Northwest and like those northern states. So we hit 32 states, I think, in 2019, beginning of 2020.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So that was the point at which it was like like I have no excuse to complain about my life. Like I just don't. I am living my dream. And
Yeah.
I know that whatever my next dream is, I will accomplish that too. And I want everybody to feel that way.
Yes, yes. I'm still working to get there, but man, that's the stuff that inspires me. It helps me to keep moving forward no matter what stuff I'm going through now, like the treading water feeling. It's that feeling of freedom. So, what does it feel like for you? And like that moment when you let go of your apartment and you knew that was it. Do you remember what that felt like?
Oh, so we're in our SUV sleeping like on the streets of New York, and we're like, we're weird. This is super fun. Like I don't know. Like if I was my friend, I would be like, really? But it's the most fun I've ever had. Sometimes I wish I could go back to that because it was like camp out every night essentially. Um, and yeah, like if I'm in a bad mood, it's my fault.
Hmm.
I can't blame it on anyone else. Like if I'm hangry, which happens more often than it should, like it's my fault, right? Like I have a refrigerator, I have a stove, I'm an adult. Like I've chosen the life that I want to live. And so if I'm not happy, it's because I'm bringing myself along for the journey, which
Wow.
that is a huge like learning and healing process too. If I find myself complaining, like that's all in here, right? Which is just means that in every point in life, wherever you are, like we have so much control up here.
Mhm. What you mentioned about you choosing your own life, that's one of my core passions is because I see people who just live. They don't actually live with purpose. And they
Mm-hmm.
go their whole lives never connecting to who they really are, never getting to see all the people they could help and bless just by letting it out. So, right there, you choosing your own life rather than, what's given to every day. It does require breaking out of that mold and being totally different and being weird, but, we could argue that weird is staying stuck in a life that doesn't serve you. And
Right.
what's the point of that?
Right.
When we have so many gifts every day and we're actually robbing them from others when we don't utilize them ourselves and we're not getting that blessing either. So, what
Yeah.
is weird? But
You got to turn reality on its head and look at it
yeah,
for what it actually is. Absolutely.
yeah. Do you regret anything?
No, because I used to regret choices that I had made that got me into the bad spot in life.
Hmm.
And then I realized, well, what's the point of that? Because it's led me here.
Yep.
So there's no point in regretting anything because you always get to make a new choice each
Yeah,
day.
absolutely. So, going back to your business and your nomad life, how do you keep up with your business while you're traveling? Is it
Uh,
possible to do that?
I thought it was going to be hard. I did. I thought it was going to be crazy, and then it turns out almost everywhere in the United States you have internet, and that's the main thing that you need. Um, so every problem or opportunity that we had, there was a YouTube video or a blog or just like, natural healing. It's not all in one spot, but if you're willing to look for it, it exists.
Mhm.
And so I would love to make a manifesting nomad life course. It's on my wish list, my to-do list,
Sign
because
me up.
that's the same thing where it was just like, why is that, like this should all be in one spot.
Yeah.
All the YouTubers are teaching a little bit of it, but like, why is it not just made
Hmm.
easy? Because I think if people understood that it was not that complicated, a lot more people would be bold and do it.
Yes. Yes. Please, please do that for us.
2021, get some people on board. Let's go.
All right. I've already got a few people I think would be just eating it up. So,
That's awesome.
all right. So, I want to be a good steward of our time. I want to talk about.
Oh, I'm losing you, I think.
You go ahead and talk
Okay.
about your crystals and oils course coming up. My internet connection is go on
That's
the deep
okay.
end.
I got 4% battery, so we're going to do this fast.
Awesome. Live on
So
the edge.
my big course that comes before I can work on the Manifesting Nomad Life course is crystals plus essential oils. And the reason for this is it's the thing that I do every single solitary day of my life. It's the thing that I am the most knowledgeable about, the most passionate about, could talk for days about. And yet there is a huge dearth of information. There just is almost no information on the internet about crystals, and then certainly not about pairing crystals and oils together safely first and then powerfully. And so I created this course just so that there would be that information and it would be easy for someone who wants to do it for themselves, for their family, for their pets. I did a workshop yesterday on pets, and for their business. So many of us healers do one or the other. We should be using both and helping our clients use both. And so that course is a 7-day intensive with lifetime access. So so many videos, so many resources, and then you get a certificate of completion at the end, which you can then put onto your website to show that you have studied these things, so that you're building confidence from your client perspective as well if you are a business owner. And that starts October 26th. And I needed an essential oil healer to come help me. And so that was you, and you are going to do an AFT session, and we're going to talk about AFT and crystals. So I'm super, super excited about that. So grateful that the universe brought you to me and brought me to you, and we're going to do this together. And it's going to be amazing. And I do want us to share the link for them and also a code. So if anyone who watches this video puts in the code CO Early Bird, then you will be able to get $50 off of the course. I would rather sell the course for less and have more people get this knowledge. So I want you to take the code. I want you to go pop it in. I want you to take the course, and then you will have all of that information, all of those videos, plus a Facebook group where we're going to be going through that together and doing a Q&A to answer any other questions that you have. Crystal will be doing her live workshop in the Facebook group. And then you'll be able to go back over and over and over again, because it is a ton of information. It will feel a little bit like a water hose. It'll feel like you thought you were going to get this much, and I gave you this much, and you had no idea what was coming at you. And then you can just go back and refresh as you need to.
I love that. So I'm going to post in the links too, but go ahead and tell everyone where they can find out more information about you and get
awesome. The easiest way is ivandlight.com, IVYANDLIGHT.com. That will get you to everywhere. It will get you to my Instagram. It will get you to my free Facebook group, where I give a lot of information, 101 on crystals, on oils, on meditation, just to give you that taste to see which one you want to dive into. You can also see my group coaching through the website, where I host my healing events every month, and we do deep dives into different topics. So yeah, all of that just from ivandlight.com, as well as so much free content organized by category for you in the Learning Center, so that if you're watching this and you thought, ooh, she said, essential oils, I need to know more. Ooh, she said meditation. You can go on there and you can get all of my free resources, videos, blogs, all in one spot for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you have any parting words or anything else you want to throw in there?
All you need to do is decide that you are worthy of a life that you love. Take that mindset shift. Tell yourself every day, if you have to, get super clear on the result that you want, and start taking baby steps towards it. And the rest is details, and we can do the details, but that is the start. You are worthy. What do you want? Take some steps towards it.
I love that so much. Thank you. This has been amazing. And I know
Thank
we
you.
talk forever about all this stuff, but I think what you shared, I hope will really impact people so they too can start living their dream authentically.
Absolutely. We should all be doing that.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Erin. And
yes, thank you.
Hope we'll be seeing more of you around, and everyone can go get connected to you and sign up for the course and get amazing information. So
awesome.
Thank you so much for
Thank you. See y'all later.
All right. This ends our segment with Miss Erin. Thank you all.